Well, welcome to our very first VO vlog.
It's great to be a part of it. Thank you, Ray.
Sounds like a branding exercise doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're about branding, so that works.
Correct.
Mate, today we're going to be talking about marketing. Peter's our marketing manager, and people don't really understand marketing sometimes, so we're going to try and clear up some of those for you. The first question I have is around that. What is marketing, so people can understand it a bit more clearer?
Well, what I say, Ray, to people who have that question for me is, I suppose it's researching, planning and implementing, bringing someone's product or service to the market. And obviously the key to that is understanding the consumer. So we need to research who they are, where we can reach them, because we need to sort of determine the product, the price, does it fit the market and their expectations, how we deliver that product to them, and how we promote it to them. So do we get into a physical store, or is it an online product? Do our consumers live in the digital space, or do they live in the bricks and mortar? So it's sort of understanding all of that and delivering that product to them to make sales. That's essentially what we do.
That's good. And I think what the main point about the word marketing and what you should take from it is market.
Absolutely. So if we can understand the market, we can then increase sales and better deliver that product and service out there.
And that's the key. I think sometimes understanding marketing and messaging is all wrapped up in that. And my second question,
yes, right,
Peter, repetition times reach equals result. But if you can only have one, which one do you choose?
Well, that's easy, man. I'll take the result, but I don't think that was the question.
No, it's either repetition or reach.
And I think that depends on what we're trying to achieve. So, for example, if the message we're trying to get out there is something that needs education, that might be your repetition. If it's something like a flash sale at a store, that might be reach. So it's always case by case, depending on the goal of the client. I mean, it's something we look at, and obviously we try and aim for both, but what the client wants depends on the result. So if we can find what result they want, we can then determine which one's the best. But if I had to pick, I'd probably say repetition.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
Repetition is my number one. And the reason repetition is so important is that if someone sees your product once, twice, 3 times, then they're ready to buy. Funny statistic here is it takes between 6 and 13 times for someone to see your product or your brand before they'll buy. So very important, repetition.
Absolutely.
Question number 3. It's a longer one, so you're going to have to get ready for it.
Yeah.
On the average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar. This is a quote by marketing great David Ogilvy. How do you write a good headline?
That's the good question. A lot of people have no trouble writing the body copy because they've got a lot to say, but trying to fit that into one sentence or even less than a couple of words can be very difficult. I always found it best is to find the key point of what the message you're trying to get across is, and make it polarizing enough to be able to cut through what's going on. So it needs to jump out to be effective, and it also needs to convey that message within those couple of words. And it's not as easy as you think, that's for sure. That takes probably the most consideration when we're writing any piece of digital content marketing, is finding that answer.
Yeah, and it is like we said, that's why we spend 80% of our time on the headline, even though it's 5 words.
Absolutely right.
But that's the most important part.
Absolutely right.
So it's a good spend.
Absolutely.
And again, your point you raise about, I'll bring it up again, is polarizing. And that's important because if you have a message out there or headline out there that's just like nice for everyone, doesn't have the cut through that you need.
Absolutely.
So polarizing is pretty important sometimes.
There's plenty of messages out there that, there's so much content out there at the moment, so to stand out, it needs to stand out and probably polarizing, otherwise it's going to get lost and then you're going to waste your marketing dollars.
They say if you haven't got one unlike on your post, you haven't done a good post.
Absolutely right. So you will offend some people with polarizing stuff. We've had emails before that we've had a lot of unsubscribes, but that's okay because we're attracting the right people then, because we obviously know that those people aren't going to be part of our business.
Correct. And you know what I love about unsubscribes? They've read it.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely
the best
right.
thing. I know that what we've done is perfect because they've read it enough to go, actually, I'm going to unsubscribe.
Absolutely. So if they don't have a feeling about what you've done, I think you're on the wrong track. So they either love it or they hate it, and I think that's the most important thing.
It's important, very important. Okay, social media marketing. What the hell is it really?
Well, it can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. A lot of people think they can do it themselves. It's actually quite difficult because we all do have social media accounts personal. We think we can just take the reins and do
Correct.
it. But the way things are going, especially my generation, there's a big shift on social media and a lot of brands. I actually just read a stat not too long ago that people now my generation prefer to contact a business through social media than any other format. So not the website, not the phone number, not an email, nothing like that. So they prefer to go straight to their social media.
It's a crazy statistic.
Absolutely. But what it is, as I said, the marketing is understanding the consumer and bringing your product to them. A lot of people think they can just put random posts and this and that out there. It's not effective. Again, it needs to be clever and simple because we wake up and we hit thousands of marketing messages every day. The difference between that and social media is it's got to feel natural and organic.
Yes.
So when we look at a social media marketing, we can use many things from influencers to straight advertising, but you'll find that the most effective results come from those influencers or that style. It doesn't feel like an advert, it tells a story, and that's what people are driven to social media for, because they follow their friends' lives because that's a story, and when they get to their favourite brands, they like to tell that story in their social media.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things to understand, again, like what we said with marketing, and market's the word, so in social media, I think you have to understand it's social media. And I find that the trap a lot of people fall into, they go and shove traditional media into social media thinking they're going to get results.
Absolutely.
Keep your traditional media in the traditional media line.
Absolutely.
Start thinking more social with social media.
That definitely stands out as people just skip past that sort of stuff, and I think that's why people think they can do it on their own, because they think they can bring the traditional media into the social realm, and it just doesn't fit and it doesn't work. So that's why we do what we do. You know, we look at, we've got to understand that consumer and understand that yes, they're getting talked to on a billboard and a magazine ad, but this platform is not for that, and it's something completely different that takes a long time to understand but very effective when it works.
Yeah, and look, I think your point about a billboard is treat your social media, if you have to do a post that is sales based, treat it like a billboard.
Correct.
People are flying past your post like they fly past you on the highway.
Absolutely.
Last question.
Beautiful.
What is the most simple form of marketing people can do?
Oh, good question, Ray. Simple. I would say most cost-effective would be social media, but again, we just discussed it wasn't simple. I think, look, the most simple thing you can do is take control of your brand. I mean, a lot of people just disregard it, but you know, most people in business, they know their product inside and out, they know their processes, they know everything they do, but the one thing they don't put any time into is their brand. Now, people might think, oh, that's not marketing at all, but it is, because that brand is a personality. It's the thing that people come in contact with.
It's the cornerstone of your marketing.
So when people don't pay any attention to it, it can be detrimental. It can say, if your website, I mean, is mixed fonts, or your brand is, you know, your on-hold messages don't align with the text you've written on other things, that miscommunication and those differences in things actually deter people from your business, because it reflects disorganisation, and that damages your brand. And I think it's so simple to say, hang on a minute, let's take a look at our brand and let's see, is everything aligned? Because it costs you nothing to do. We've all got a brand, we can all look at it and say, you know, is this on brand?
Is it all lining up? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's the most important thing, and so easy to do, just to look at what you've got.
I mean, when you think subconsciously about a brand that is all over the shop, I believe the conclusion you draw is they're not really taking care of their brand. Are they going to take care of me as a customer?
Absolutely.
And I think that's important for you to understand.
Absolutely. So, as I said, if a brand's nice and clean and sleek and professional, that's what it's going to say about you as an organisation, and people are going to.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, thanks for joining our very first VO vlog. It's been a blast. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you,
Great
Ray.
insights, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.